Good morning. How's it going today? Karen from Spirit. I don't even know what I'm from. Ask the Spirit Guides. This is really the best hair day I've ever had. Or bedhead. My sister says when I drink coffee at the end, I go, ah. It's so funny when you're on camera, the stuff people notice about you that you've never noticed, which is totally fine. You got your coffee? So today I want to talk about this mantra or prayer, you could say. If you have never heard of this, my guess is a lot of you have, but if you haven't, I just learned about it like 5 years ago, maybe in my upper 40s or something. So I'll see if I can say it correctly because I have to look at it. So it's called Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. Okay. So basically, first of all, it's just a little disclaimer. It's not a disclaimer, but I don't even want to use the word warning. But if you use this, just use it slowly. Because I remember when I was first introduced to this and I was like, cool, I'm going to say that every day or whatever. And it will shake things up. It can shake things up quite a bit. It can. I don't know. It did for me. It was quite healing, but it also can shake things up maybe a little too fast, bring things out a little too fast. So maybe just try it. Look at this, what happens when I first get up in the morning. You know how it is. You guys itch your eye and everything. So just, kind of take it slowly. However, the most beautiful video I just watched is on the Ho'oponopono, and it's this woman singing it. And I will link it in this video. It is so beautiful. I feel like it would be, I'm going to try to wake up to it whenever I feel like it, like play that in the morning. And she explains, she explains it too. So we're just going to talk about it here. But I wonder have you heard about it? Have you used it? What are the effects when you have used it? If you could comment, because I think it would help people in the community to know, like, what experiences have you had from using it? How often do you do it? If you've ever had like a regular practice of it. So let's talk just a little bit. Basically, the prayer is, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Okay. So the idea would be is that we are taking responsibility for anything that's triggering us. So let's just take the whole stuff that's going on in the US right now. So it's kind of hard to talk about without it feeling like it's not my responsibility. They did it, So the question is, what part of us created this situation? Because all of us collectively created this situation, whether you want to admit that or not. I think that's the concept. Okay. And I'm not saying for sure that I know that. I'm just saying that's the idea, is that as a collective conscious worldwide, we have created this situation. And so we would say, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I think it's like, thank you for the lesson. I love you. Okay. And so if you think about it, you could say that to Mother Earth. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You could say that to somebody in your life. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. You can say that to your one of the things that she does in the song that I'm posting below is she says to her inner child, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I mean, it's just so sweet. It's so simple. So I have a blog post here from meta365.com, coaching and mentoring. And there's a blog post on the Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. And so I'm just going to read a little bit from what she has written here. Let's see. So people struggle with the concept of forgiveness, both for themselves and for others. Often find comfort in deeply healing old age practice that comes from Hawaii. The beautiful Hawaiian prayer for forgiveness is called Ho'oponopono. And she has the pronunciation right there. So Ho, H-O in all caps, which is not really all caps, but Ho'oponopono. The ancient Hawaiian practice of forgiveness functions as both a communication concept for reconciliation and a tool for restoring self-love and balance. In practice, it works sort of like a mantra for self-love, and even more surprisingly, it's super simple. The word Ho'oponopono roughly translates to cause things to move back in balance, which I love that. First of all, this is about self-love, because the thing we're doing on this channel is the focus, as much as possible, is we're finding the answers within instead of outside of ourselves. And so this practice is about self-love and restoring balance to ourselves. And if you practice self-love and restoring balance to yourself, you will restore love and balance around your immediate environment. And then it will continue to permeate out. And the more of us who do that, then it just keeps permeating, And so it's so interesting how I think this is where humanity and humans getting more connected to spirit are going to start understanding that it always felt so complicated throughout my life, like helping others and how do I guide others and it's how do I help myself and how do I guide myself so that I radiate the kind of energy that I want to radiate out there that actually does the best good for everybody. Because it does the best good for me, it does the best good for everybody, Let's see. I'm all business this morning, aren't I? Wow. I think it's because the supermoon was last night. I'd love to hear how you guys, I did a bunch of stuff on the supermoon, so I'm sure people are writing in there, but I suppose we should stay focused on the Ho'oponopono. But I feel like I'm not chatting at all today. Oh, well. Okay, we're just going with stuff. Let's see. So it causes things to move back in balance or to make things right. It's a very Zen concept. In native Hawaiian language, pono means balance in the sense of life. When things are in balance, nothing is off, so to speak. Accordingly, chanting this prayer over and over is a powerful way to cleanse the body of guilt, shame, haunting memories, ill will, or bad feelings that keep the mind fixated on negative thoughts. I love that. As a forgiveness practice, it is also deeply resonant, as it tends to penetrate our inner monologue over time. So as a forgiveness practice, it tends to penetrate our inner monologue over time. To try it out for yourself and to cleanse yourself of bad feelings, chant the following mantra repeatedly while sitting with your eyes closed as a kind of meditation. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. So she says that's it, and isn't that something we all need to hear? I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. So we don't often hear that from other people, do we? That we're needing to forgive. So we are saying it to ourselves, we are hearing it for ourselves, And it's a really nice way, I think, of just, yeah, it's like hearing it. I'm trying to process this myself. So I'd like to know what you guys think. But it's like, rather than waiting for someone to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I think we can, somehow I'm feeling like we can internally do that ourselves. Like, we don't need to wait for them to say, I'm sorry. Doesn't mean we have to accept it, but it doesn't, I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's taking the ownership of needing someone to say, I'm sorry, I guess. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Because it's really all about ownership. Even when people do stuff to us, we have the opportunity to respond in a certain way, whether that's leave, and let go of the anger. It's like, what did they teach us? I don't know. It's interesting. Let's see. With regular practice, reciting these 4 simple phrases helps develop self-love and self-esteem at the time when we need it most, which is right now, right? So many of us. In this way, it's both a lullaby to the self and a guaranteed, insightful way to approach forgiving other people. So I just think it's really cool. But again, take it slow. Take it slow, because now that I listened to that video, the song, which is so beautiful. It is so good. It's like 13 minutes long, but I don't know. I found not everybody, it may not resonate with everybody. And, it's interesting because it may resonate with me today, but it might not resonate tomorrow, and so you just have to, but I'm going to actually listen to it again, but I might be a glutton for punishment if I do. So just wait and see what happens. And I wish there was a way of follow-up on this kind of stuff, because like 3 days from now, if you do this, do this mantra, and 3 days from now, over the next 3 days, you might see some kind of shift, and it might feel a little painful depending on what that shift is. I would love to, it's hard. It's like, will you remember to circle back and say it in this video? Probably not. We all got lives, but I would love to capture that stuff. It's almost like testimonials of like, how something might have worked for you. Or if you remember that, if you've done this before and you remember how it affected, I would love to hear. I'm sure like community would love to hear about that. When I learned about this 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I practiced it for a very short period of time, I remember there being a shift, and that's why I'm saying take it slow. It's kind of like doing cleansing with the SGs, but I don't remember what the shift was, so I can't give you a testimonial on it. But don't you like this mug? Just remember, you're doing great. You are. You're totally doing great. We're all doing great. Everybody here is doing amazing. And sometimes you just need to hear that, but you need to hear it within yourself. But for a while, as we're working on getting the answers within ourselves instead of outside ourselves, it's still okay to rely on a little bit of that external validation. But we're moving away from needing. That's the purpose of like my facilitation in this channel, is the moving away from needing external validation. How many of you, my hand is up really high, have relied on external validation for a long time? Not always, not in everything have I, but so we're working on that. Doesn't mean we're just going to stop it tomorrow, and it's okay if we don't, because it's ingrained in a lot of us. But so your external validation is right here. I'm telling you, you're doing great, because you are. So then now the work is to know that inside of you. And it's okay if you're not going to wake up tomorrow and feel that way. Layers. We've got layers. We're peeling the onion. You've probably heard that saying before. We're peeling the onion. And I was going to have a whole separate conversation about this, but I don't think so because I think this relates. I wrote this down last night because when I did one of the, and you don't need a comment about this. I'm totally okay. People, I love how people come to my defense. It's just the sweetest thing. You guys are so sweet. It's just that we don't need to flood the comments with the defense, because I appreciate it. I know you would come to my defense. But so like yesterday I did a reading and the card was metamorphosis. And I think I kept saying metamorphosis. And so then people were correcting me, which is fine. But what it does is what it's doing for me right now is actually empowering me more, because when I first started seeing comments a week or two ago, if you've been with me for a full 3 weeks, which is today, that I started doing this version of YouTube. I was doing business versions for business videos for like 4 years. So like 3 weeks ago, for like the first week or so, I was trying to process the comments or whatever. But now I'm starting to realize that what empowered Karen and empowered Kens are starting to look like. Someone told me it was Ken that was the male version of Karen. So rather than, bitchy Karen and Ken, it's empowered Karen and Ken. And I think empowered Karen is okay with her perfections. And it honestly doesn't even matter. Like, I am okay saying I don't pronounce words correctly all the time. I am okay saying when I read, I stumble a little bit. I'm not a really thorough reader. And it's okay. You don't have to defend me in that. You don't have to say, yes, you are, or whatever. It's okay. I'm not looking for that at all. My point is that empowered Karens don't have to be perfect. And we accept it. Like, I'm 55. If I don't know how to pronounce certain words yet, and the reason I don't know how to pronounce certain words is because there are certain words I've never said out loud. Okay. Or I haven't said it out loud for a long time. And my brain doesn't connect how to pronounce a word if it's something I haven't seen for a long time. And I used to feel shame about that a lot. And so I wouldn't say the word, and that's where empowered Karen comes from. About this is because empowered Karen is like, and I'm talking about all of us being empowered Karens, not just my name happens to be Karen. So, which is really funny because I have been saying for like so long, I'm taking my name back, and I keep saying that. And it's hilarious how it just turned I got what I asked for because I'm starting to take it back. I think I've heard other people calling it empowered Karen too. And that was after I started calling it empowered Karen. So we are all empowered Karens, working on being empowered Karens. And so I think part of being empowered Karens is just accepting our imperfections. Doesn't mean we don't have to keep working on them, but let's be reasonable. If there's things you need to work on that would develop, to make your relationship stronger with somebody, that's probably more important than learning how, spending time in the dictionary, learning how to pronounce words out loud correctly. Do you know what I mean? You have to prioritize. It's like, let's just prioritize. So, while it's fine if people want to correct me, actually, I am good. I'm glad to know, because it's like, oh yeah, okay, I'll just pay a little bit more attention. It's about just paying more attention. Because my goal is not to throw people off by the messenger, don't lose the message because of the messenger type of thing. And that's their choice to be thrown off. But, yeah, empowered Karens are just okay with the imperfection. It's okay with the imperfection. It's okay if you want to frickin' lay on your couch all day, every day for 4 months, because that's what you need. And in fact, that's what I did over the when I stopped doing the business, my business, and I was selling, I started by selling planners, No, in 2008, I started creating planners from my experience working in a college. And I created all these printables, and I still have the printables shop. You can check it out below in my description. In fact, I give 70% off. There's a coupon. If the link down below, anyone who comes through from YouTube is getting 70% off in there, just because I'm not really, I mean, they're, they can be really helpful for a lot of people, but I'm not really focused on that as a business. But I'm like, but they're there. I don't, if it was going to be helpful for people, that, I want people to know they're there. But, so that in March of 2024, depending on when you're listening to this, it's like all of a sudden I was like, nope, I'm done. I don't know why. Like I started in 2018, and for like 5 years, I was like, I'm done. I just felt done with it. And because I didn't financially need it, because we're at a point where we're retiring now, I didn't, and we've been saving for a long time and investing, and we just don't need it. But I mean, it would be nice to have a little spending money. Extra spending money. So for some reason, and now I know when I look back, I was just like, I'm done. I'm just done with this. And not in a bad way. I was just like, okay, completed, and I literally from like March until 3 weeks ago today, I sat on the couch, not all the time, a lot, and watched YouTube. I never really even, I was on YouTube. You've probably maybe heard me talk about this if you've been here for the last 3 weeks, but I was on YouTube doing business videos, but I never watched anybody else because I didn't want to watch any other business videos, because I was going with my flow. I was going with what my intuition and what I wanted to teach people. And I found at that time that if I watched other people's videos, I felt very competitive. I felt like jealous. I felt like I had all these feelings. So I didn't watch it, which is completely opposite of how I feel about the spiritual and, this community. Like I can watch anybody else who's talking about these kind of things that I'm talking about and feel, I just feel like, this isn't a competition at all. But on the business end, I totally did. It's just interesting. So I literally from March until October, March, April, May, July, August, September, October. So like 7 months basically, because it was like the end of March. So 7 months. Besides, besides working out and going to, and being outside, swimming, and we have a pool and stuff. So we spend a lot of time outside. I just really sat and clicked and clicked and clicked and learned and learned and learned. And I went through like these, I think I explained this already, but these phases of like, first it was like full-time travel. I was like, for a month, I watched everybody who did full-time travel. And I was like, we have to do that. And then my husband's like, yeah, no, I mean, he wouldn't mind full-time travel, but he wants to have a home base. And I was like, I don't want to have a home base. So I was kind of obsessed about that. And then it went to, so it's that. And then I think it went to investing, like learning more about investing, which I've always known a lot about investing, but just like getting more active. So I got obsessed about that for like a month, just because I was learning a whole bunch of stuff. And then I think that started going to like, and then I started like, it started this doomsday stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't want to talk about that, but I started like that stuff started popping into my feed and it just started feeling icky. So then I'm like, what is up with these people? The whole preparedness stuff. So I kind of got into that. Like, they started that whole thing started making me feel like I had to get prepared for things that I was not even aware, so that was interesting. And then it led to the tarot readers, my sitting around. And I'm coming back around as to why this comes back to you. I promise. So came on, and then I started watching the tarot readers. And I had been doing, working with my SGs and angel cards, which are really tarot cards, but angel cards, I just was working with them a different way for a long time. And I've had a spiritual life, just kind of up and down my entire life, starting with an angel book my mom bought us, all the kids. It was in our stocking or something, or we got it for Christmas. And like when I was 14 or something. but it's kind of where it started my journey on this. So the tarot card readers then helped me see how I could bring the SGs out into the world, basically. I don't really like calling it a gift because, I mean, it is, I suppose, but, you know, everybody's got it. So I don't know. I just don't really like using that term. It's just like, this might surprise people and I can tell my story sometime, but I had breast cancer when I was 32. Never got it again. Resolved it. Never got it again. I have never considered myself a breast cancer survivor. I'm like, to me, it was like having the flu and moving on. But it's okay for other people who have, because that's their life path. But I never wanted to hang on to the identity of that. I've never identified with it ever. It did feel like, to me, it was like an ailment, and then it was gone. And I've never had any issues since. So, yeah, anyway, so why did I even bring that up? Oh, because it was the gift, and so just what we identify with, you know. So I don't really identify with the SGs as a gift. It's like just been, you know, my experience. But anyway, so then the tarot readers helped me really understand how to do it effectively and kind of like what their guidelines are. So then I felt comfortable bringing it here. So it brings me to my full circle as to why sitting on the couch and watching YouTube for however long you need to do it, sometimes, it's just an example, it's called pausing. You know, it's called, there are times in our lives, and if you look back over your life, you probably know what I'm talking about. There are times in our lives where we are very, very active. We're moving. We have a lot of energy. We're fulfilling goals. We're making checklists. We're whatever, you know. And then there are times in our lives where we just stop. We rest. And those, especially for people who are very goal-driven, or I was going to start getting into the Myers-Briggs a little bit, but it depends on your personality type. It's a little too early for that, for the Myers-Briggs. But there is time for rest. And sometimes that rest, sometimes that rest can last a long time, and there's a reason for it. I think we have to trust the rest. We have to trust the rest. That's another mug. I got to write that down. I'm going to put that up. We're going to get a mug shop, you guys, because as you can tell, I'm obsessed. I love mugs. And I found a whole bunch of these mugs after COVID, because, you know, during COVID, everybody, my understanding, well, people were just cleaning out. So there was so many mugs that were really cool like this, but I don't find them that often anymore. So once everybody cleaned out. So anyways, trust the rest. You know, there was a woman, I'm not going to tell the story because it's not very uplifting, but there was a woman who had a really, 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 why she chose that life contract, I just can't even imagine, but had a really, really hard situation happen to her. And I remember listening to the story, and she said it literally took like 11 years of rest for her to, and then her life completely changed, and it brought her to where she is today, which was like a miracle place, you know. But she rested for 11 years. And by rest, I mean like grieved, you know, grieved and was depressed, but that was her rest time, you know. So my rest time was like 6 months. I mean, I just had no desire. And, you know, there was a part of me that was like, and felt like, oh my gosh, am I going to be, I think people think rest is being stuck, that you're stuck. And I thought, and because I didn't have to earn money, it's really different, you guys, when you don't have to earn money. And I bet you can, I bet you intellectually can understand that, right? It is a good place to be in. That is for sure. If you're not older and retired, you're just not there yet, you know? But because I didn't have to do that, I thought, I'm just allowing myself to do this. It was like the first time I really allowed myself. Now, if you're working and you're not retired and you're resting more on weekends, that's, you know, like usually you're more active on weekends, but now you're finding that you need to chill. That's your rest time, you know, like you just, let it happen as long as it needs to happen, because something is conjuring up. Something beautiful is coming up, but it needs that time to manifest itself. It knows what you want. The universe knows what you want. Your spirit guides know what you want. But if we don't allow that downtime and that rest time, then it's very hard for it to, you know, it's going to take longer for it to get there, basically, you know. And the way I have a whole video on this, I haven't posted it because it hasn't, I mean, I just haven't posted it because it hasn't seemed like the right time, about and Lee Harris is the one who sparked this in me, because it was about the November energy report he does. So Lee Harris Energy, November 2024, should really go and listen to that, especially because of what's going on. You'll be like, whoa, you know. But he talks about, if we make a decision on our lives when we have a full body yes, that's when, you know, that's when you can go from A to Z and you'll go in a straight line. When you make the decision on the full body yes, like you get a full body yes and you're like, yes, I want to do that, which is how I feel about this channel. Like 3 weeks ago, I was like, I finally got a full body yes. But until then, I just sat and watched YouTube until I got a full body yes. And if you do that, if you get a full body, if you rest long enough until you get your full body yes, you won't go like over here and over here and over here to get to that full body rest. You can do that, but it's like, it'll just take you longer. So if you're making decisions in your life and you don't have a full body yes, it's okay to go that route. Many of us do. This is probably the first time I actually got a full body yes and waited and waited and waited for it, because I was being patient. But if you don't wait, you'll end up going here. And what he says is it's the universe's way of seeing what you will not put up with, what you will accept. I think that's really profound. It's the universe's way of saying, are you going to accept this instead of the full body yes? Many of us do, right? We accept this. And then it takes, 3 more years to get to the full body yes than it needed to, because we didn't allow that rest time. We accepted something that was less than the full body yes. I am on fire this morning. I wasn't even going to record this morning. I was like, I feel like maybe everybody, needs a break from me. I need a break for myself, And I'm totally going with the flow. So I wasn't going to until I heard that Ho'oponopono song. And then I was like, oh yeah, I got to talk about that. So, but this whole thing has just kind of flown for me this morning. At least for me it has. I don't know for anybody else. Oh well, this is a long coffee with Karen. I like to know if anybody's ever at the end. Because I'm okay if people, it's just fun for me if I know there's a few people who waited till the end. It's kind of fun. So, all right. Have an amazing day. We'll see you maybe tomorrow. I see I'm committing to a coffee with Karen every single day. Every once in a while I might skip one. It just depends on, what's going on. So, all right. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.